right, good morning. Let's talk about evaluating absolute value expressions. So first off, let's talk about what is the absolute value. Remember, the absolute value is the distance from zero on the number line. So this is how far away from zero a number is. Because of this, absolute value is always positive and never negative. So the absolute value of 3 is 3, but the absolute value of -3 is also 3. So once we've simplified everything in the absolute value, if that number is negative, it comes out positive. So no matter what that number is, once we've simplified, it's always going to be positive. So if I'm asked to evaluate the absolute value of 3x plus 2 when x is 5, we are still going to use the same steps for evaluating as we did with any other algebraic expression. I'm going to plug in using my parentheses, my given values, and then I'm going to simplify. Okay, so we've got the absolute value of 3. Well, we know that x is equal to 5, so we're timesing by 5, plus 2. So from here, all I have to do is simplify it. Okay, so 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2. So 15 plus 2 is 17. Now we haven't taken care of this absolute value. And you see I'm making those kind of thick just to remind myself those are absolute value, not ones. Well, the absolute value of 17 is 17. And there's my final answer. Okay, let's look at another one. We're going to evaluate 4x squared minus 21 when x is equal to 2. Okay, so plugging in, I've got 4 times 2 squared minus 21. Okay, so first thing I want to do is work order of operations to simplify this, and I do have an exponent inside my absolute value, so 2 squared is 4. So I get 4 times 4 minus 21. Next thing we need to work out is our multiply and divide. So since we have 4 times 4, that gives me 16. Oops, not parentheses. And 16 minus 21 is -5. So now we're left with the absolute value of a -5, which is going to make this a +5. So my answer is +5 there. All right, looking at this one, I've got -x times the absolute value of 3y plus 2 when x is 5 and y is -2. So starting in, we're going to substitute in. So I've got -x, which is 5, times the absolute value of 3 times, well, y is a -2, plus 2. Okay. So first thing we're at here is we've got a grouping symbol of absolute value. So we're going to work inside that first. We're going to come back to the -5 here in a minute. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is 3 times -2, which is a -6, plus 2. And then -6 plus 2 gives me a -4. So I have -5 times the absolute value of -4. Now the absolute value of a -4 becomes a +4. And so I end up with -5 times 4 which in this case will end up with a negative 20. Okay, the absolute value is not going to make the whole answer positive, just everything inside the absolute value. That's where we got from -4 to 4. Okay. All right, we're going to look at one more example. So I've got 5 plus the absolute value of -7 WS plus 3S when W is 8 and S is -2. So plugging in 5 times W, which we said was 8, plus the absolute value of -7 times 8 times -2 plus 3 times -2. All right, so first thing I want to do is I want to simplify inside the absolute value. So we're doing -7 times 8, which gives me a -56. And then we're going to times by a -2. And I'm also going to do the 3 times -2 as well. So -56 times 2 gives me 112 plus, well, 3 times -2 is a -6. We still have the 5 times 8 out here. Adding 2, well, 112 plus a -6 gives me the absolute value of 106. Okay, so then we can do 5 times 8, which is 40, plus, well, we know what the absolute value of 106 is 106. So we end up with 146 as our answer. All right, that's all I have for you in this one. I will see you.